Good evening and welcome to Trending Tonight. I'm Sanket Upadhyay. A very important topic that we are going to discuss at this moment. Who caused this second wave? Now, there are various reasons that we saw around. The most prominent one that could be seen in front of us playing out were the elections. It's still on in West Bengal. One court in the country has said it in as many words. It's the Madras High Court. So we are going to put this to debate. Is the Election Commission to blame for the rise in COVID cases in the second wave? That's going to be our discussion. Second High Court to blame the Election Commission. Remember, it was Calcutta High Court last week. Second High Court to blame the Election Commission. Is the EC responsible for the second wave? Let's quickly take a look at some percentages one by one. So what we have done is we've basically identified the percentage growth of the number of cases in each of these poll-bound states. So let's talk about Kerala first. In the last week, Kerala has seen, let's quickly put those graphics on air. If we can put those graphics on the screen, I'll be in a better position to be able to explain these graphics. So Kerala, 130% increase over the last week as far as the COVID cases are concerned. In Tamil Nadu, 56% increase. This is a week-on-week growth. So last week, the growth in the percentage of cases compared to the last week is 56%. In West Bengal, the percentage increase over last week is 86%. In Assam, a whopping 215%. So these are poll-bound states and they're tryst with coronavirus. In Puducherry, this is at 47%. And in Uttar Pradesh, where you see the ugly dance of coronavirus and also the panchayat elections, the percentage increase of the case is 47%. So perhaps the Madras High Court is not out of line, or this is not just a casual observation being made by the judge. This is backed by hard facts that yes, there is a correlation between the increase in the number of cases and the elections. Now, what exactly did the Madras High Court say? Let's put that on screen. So the Madras High Court said that the Election Commission is singularly responsible. Let's put out the observations of the Madras High Court on screen. The observations of the Madras High Court are there on the screen. EC singularly responsible for the second wave. The Election Commission directed to submit counting blueprint on the 30th. Without blueprint, can stop the counting of votes. This is what the Madras High Court says. They said, were you on another planet when poll rallies were being held? Public health is paramount. So they've accused them of being singularly responsible for the second wave. Also, another important point which we are going to talk about, should probably be booked for murder. These are also the observations of the Madras High Court. Pawan Kheda, spokesperson of the Congress party, is now with us. Chandra Bose, senior leader of the BJP, is also with us. And we have Sanjay Pinto, advocate of the Madras High Court, also with us. Thank you very much. Mr. Pinto, we'll begin with you first because these are the observations of the Madras High Court. Would you say that finally some court has said it in as many words? I mean, one can understand that election is a means to an end in a democracy. Do you think that the Election Commission and various political parties made this the end? That elections is the end in democracy. It's not the means to an end.
Sanket, I personally believe that the Election Commission has done a conscious pilot and washed its hands off its responsibility here. I'm very glad that the Madras High Court has finally taken cognizance of it, although it could have been much earlier, I feel. The damage could have been contained had they cracked the whip during the campaign, those huge rallies that we witnessed across the country, at least in the state of Tamil Nadu. Now, I would like to draw your attention, Sanket, to the powers of the Election Commission. Under Article 324 of the Constitution, the Election Commission has plenary, sweeping, unfettered powers to superintend, to control and to direct elections. Now, that power is not restricted to a model code of conduct and enforcing it. Why didn't they have COVID observers, for instance? They have election observers. Why didn't they have COVID observers to ensure that their guidelines which they had put out were not followed at all? how many political parties actually enforce that at their end? This is where the Election Commission should have played its role.
No,
And
also Mr. Pinto,
I would say
also Mr. Pinto, see, I can understand, Mr. Pinto, see, I can understand that at a point when all of this was decided, COVID cases were not on the rise. So that laxity, I can understand. See, I'm not going too much into the past, but when they started to rise, at that moment the Election Commission could have acted, and they did not.
Look, let me give you a small example in terms of Chennai and Tamil Nadu. About a month ago, the cases in Chennai were about 130 to 150. Today, it's more than 4,000, almost 5,000. Tamil Nadu cases were about 400 to 500. After the elections, it's now 13,000, 14,000 plus.
Correct.
So this is a cause and effect.
Absolutely.
You don't need to be a Sherlock Holmes to know that this is the direct result of the election campaigns, the rallies which were conducted with gay abandon, with absolutely not a single COVID protocol was followed by these political parties. And I think in the context of counting, now very importantly, I must make this point here, counting is going to be held on the 2nd. So the court at least has tried to take cognizance of that now and say that, look, the celebrations and all that are likely to happen on the 2nd of May. Interestingly, it falls on a Sunday. 2nd of May is a Sunday.
Yes.
2nd of May is also, Sundays are lockdown days in Tamil Nadu, as per the latest directive of the government.
Correct.
Who's to enforce that? The party that wins is the party that's going to celebrate. So the party that is going to enforce its own violations.
Very important, yes. And that is why you are right. First, last week it was Calcutta High Court, but as far as Madras High Court is concerned, their observations and their orders are extremely critical. Pawan Kheda, I want to come to you now. The whole point on obsessing to have these elections and insisting that all phases happen and insisting that there should be counting. You tell me, does our constitutional framework not allow for the postponement of these phases or the postponement of the counting day? I mean, surely there is a bigger crisis.
Sanket, it's the misfortune of this country, and I hate to be criticizing the government in the middle of a crisis, but I mean, they leave us with no choice. It's the misfortune of this country in the middle of a humongous crisis never witnessed before. We have a government which is active, visibly active only in election management, in media management, in event management, and not in crisis management. I mean, I would have been happy if I had a manager and not a leader at the top of it. It's neither a leader nor a crisis manager. We have an event manager, we have an election manager, we have a post-poll political manager buying MLAs, selling MLAs. What kind of a government are we saddled with? That's the misfortune. High Court, I mean, great respect for the High Court, लेकिन हिंदी में एक कहावत है कि कहा तो बेटी को लेकिन सुनाया बहू को. Well, I hope ये सुनाया सरकार को है बीजेपी को. I sincerely hope this is what the Honorable High Court has done. I mean, who on earth in India will believe that the Election Commission is acting freely? All political parties approached the Election Commission to merge the remaining phases of the Bengal election into one, barring one party. That one party is BJP, which opposed it. It's for everyone to see.
Okay, Mr. Chandra Bose, I want to come to you now. Insisting that elections be held as normal. I know all political parties participated in rallies. They carried out their events. We've got Professor Mandal also of the TMC. I'll ask him this question also. It's not like some great social distancing was being followed in TMC rallies. But when I asked this question earlier of them, they said, what do you want us to do? We wanted elections to be merged. But since the Election Commission decided, then we have to fight the election. So we'll do what we're supposed to do. Mr. Bose, what is the responsibility of the government over here? And more importantly, the responsibility of the EC. Why couldn't elections have been postponed after the surge?
We hail the Honorable High Court, Madras High Court's order. I think their observations are factually right. But you see, only 5 states were in election mode. Coronavirus does not discriminate. You see, any congregation, religious congregation, wedding reception, or a political rally, the coronavirus spreads rampantly. It's a fact. Now, as far as the Election Commission is concerned, it is an autonomous body. It has got statutory powers, but their powers are limited. I think we should accept the situation that their powers are limited.
No, how,
all
Mr.
leaders, let me finish, please.
Sorry,
All leaders of all political parties did not follow the COVID norms. I think the responsibility lies with all political parties. Do you expect the Election Commission to arrest political leaders of various parties if they flouted the COVID norms? No, it is not possible. Under the present system, under the Constitution of India, the Election Commission does not have sweeping powers. Either you give the powers to them,
no,
or
but then the
somebody
Election
else
Commission
takes
did
the
have the
responsibility.
Election Commission has the power to postpone an election. Postpone. I'm not saying cancel.
Yes, they do.
Postpone.
Yes.
Yes, they do, but that the Election Commission has to decide. Political parties cannot really influence the Election Commission to either postpone.
I think
or
a political
to
point
hold
that will be
elections
made over here
right
is
now.
a political party did influence the decision. While on one hand you had all political parties stacked up saying that please merge all the phases, you had your party, Mr. Bose, your party was the only party which said no. In all fairness, there should be multiple phases because each one should enjoy, there should be great equality. I remember the argument presented by the BJP that what was a privilege accorded to members in the earlier phases must be a privilege accorded to the candidates in the future phases as well. And this seems to be the argument that the Election Commission has bought.
Sanket, the matter is not so simple. I think the entire system has to be reviewed. If you feel that the BJP had influenced the Election Commission,
that word,
I think that can be reviewed. I don't think so. Because the Election Commission is an autonomous body.
Mr. Bose, what is system?
Of course, it does not have sweeping powers.
Mr. Bose, define system.
That is also a fact.
I'm hearing this word system a lot these days. Everything is blamed on the system. What is the system? Can we be specific about the definition of system?
The Election Commission has sweeping powers, plenary powers. Supreme Court and MS Gill has very clearly said that they have a wide amplitude of powers. Under Section 57 of the Representation of People Act, they have the right to even adjourn elections. Why were they not invoking this? As I said, this is, and it's ironic that political parties after the elections and after this surge, we the people did not vote for a second wave. Let's be clear about that. We the people did not vote for a second wave in our state.
Very well said. I mean, I understand people flout rules, but the responsibility to be prepared is not of the people. Okay, very quickly, Sumansi Raman and then Professor Mondal, and then I'll come back to Mr. Bose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sanket, the observations of the Honorable Madras High Court are most welcome, but unfortunately, it comes a little too late in the day. Had the same, comments been passed maybe 2 months ago, at least a few lives would have been saved. We've seen this time after time, that after the event, such observations come, such strong comments are made. But look, the Election Commission was approached by multiple people asking for them to reduce the number of rallies or put some kind of bar on the crowds assembling at rallies. And there was not one or two parties who were guilty. The ruling party, the AIADMK, the Chief Minister was holding, was campaigning with big crowds. The leader of the opposition, Mr. M.K. Stalin, was campaigning with big crowds. The Prime Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, Mr. J.P. Nadda, all of them were in Tamil Nadu addressing huge rallies. Nothing happened. And by the way, today's hearing, actually, and the comments came in relation to a case which was filed by a minister asking for COVID protocols to be enforced during the counting on 2nd. On the 2nd, Tamil Nadu alone will have 75 counting centers. In 75 counting centers, there are going to be an average of about 400 to 500 people each.
All of these have the potential of becoming super spreader events.
I'm not even talking about the party supporters and so on. I'm only talking about the agents who are going to be present inside the premises. We are looking at 35 to 40,000 people in crowded places over that one day.
Imagine And imagine all of this is going to be, Mr. Mandal, I just shudder to think what is going to happen in West Bengal, because this is the same state where there is a record surge in the number of cases in Kolkata, record surge in the state. I mean, if I look at the week-on-week growth, in West Bengal, you have a growth rate of the virus at 86%. And counting is yet to happen.
And that's happening in the last 1 week or so. You know, Sanket, you have been here for 2 weeks back, barely 2-3 weeks back, and we were really not concerned about COVID at that point in time. And if the Election Commission of India were to heed to our suggestion, election would be over by now. We suggested that by 22nd at the earliest, let us do away with the election. First of all, they made the blunder by having this extended election for 8 phases. That never happened in the history of West Bengal. They certainly lacked that alacrity and farsightedness on their part in order to somewhat suit the purpose of a political party.
No, Mr. Mandal, but then the responsibility of ensuring social distancing was on the candidate. For instance, in Mamata Banerjee's rallies, I don't think she could exercise that control. I mean, there are politicians who say, how can we control the crowd? Then don't have these rallies.
Sanket,
where is your sense of responsibility?
Mamata was holding very few rallies in Kolkata, I tell you. Even 10 days back, before the banning of the election commission,
she held a record number of rallies.
Very few, not in Kolkata, Sanket, not in Kolkata.
What is this? Cases are increasing everywhere in West Bengal, no? What is this little silver lining for yourself? Not in Kolkata.
Kolkata and adjacent areas, I tell you, the 60-70% of the cases are coming from Kolkata and 2 districts in 24 Parganas. That's the fact. And they are talking now about...
No, that's a fact now. But if you have learned anything from the virus, that is not how the virus mutates and grows. You look at Delhi. 2 to 3 weeks back, there was nothing in Delhi. And look where we are right now.
I'm giving you the facts. Even 2 weeks back, we did not have this much of cases. So why extend the election to this level?
Okay, very quickly, Pawan Kheda.
Over by now.
Pawan Kheda.
Suggested
Pawan Kheda, we get to hear a lot about the system being responsible. I want to ask you at this moment, which system? What system? Who is responsible? And I'll come to Mr. Bose also so that he can define the word for us. Mr. Kheda.
There is no definition of the word system. There is a name. System. Let's rename the Prime Minister as System Modi. He is the system. He controls everything. Now,
exactly.
The Sero survey was accessible to all. Government definitely had access to the Sero survey. Didn't they realize when they fixed, they could have actually joined hands with all other political parties, including the TNC and the Congress, when we sought merger of the phases. Leave alone the original decision of having 8 phases for West Bengal. For what? So the obsession with rallies, mammoth crowds, and then imagine the Prime Minister in the morning advises the sages and the saints to cancel the Kumbh, and in the afternoon goes and praises the large crowds that have come to clap for him in West Bengal. So this
and that happened on the 17th.
But Mr. Kheda, why are you discounting yourself or giving yourself immunity? It's not like your political party leaders did not campaign.
Mr. Sanket
Everybody did.
Mr. Sanket Upadhyay, you want us to sit at home and allow Mr. Narendra Modi and Mr. Amit Shah to go around campaigning, getting votes, and it's a competitive space. They are the Rajas. अगर जो राजा करेगा सबको वो करना पड़ेगा. राजा का फर्ज बनता था कि अपनी जिम्मेदारी को एहसास होता उसको और इलेक्शन के 8 फेजेस नहीं करता. हमने तो नहीं तय किया. और आप कोई कहते हैं इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑटोनोमस है, आजाद है, माफ कीजिएगा, कोई नहीं मानता. इस देश का बच्चा भी नहीं मानता कि इलेक्शन कमीशन.
Okay, Chandra Bose, let me quickly come back to you. So, okay, Chandra Bose, let me come back to you. So, Pawan Kheda says that system equals Modi. So, it is the Prime Minister who is the system, and thus everything that is happening around us is a consequence of the failure of that system. System equals Mr. Modi.
I think it is extremely unfair to put the entire responsibility on the Honorable Prime Minister. Yes, he is responsible. Every party is responsible. Every leader is responsible. I think today we need to be responsible political activists and And we should also admit that we have failed miserably in order to protect and support
you are
the
a right
COVID
man in the wrong party. You
in order to,
one moment, Mr. Kheda, let us speak, please.
The Election Commission had given the notification. Although Election Commission could not take any very stern steps, that is the failure of the Election Commission. But they did notify. They did issue ban orders. They did issue.
No, you tell me right now, Mr. Bose, if I were to ask you, Mr. Bose, one moment, I want to come in here. Sanjay Pinto, let's begin with you. Sumant Raman right now just defined, he said that on the counting day, one moment. Sanjay Pinto, Sumant Raman just said that on counting day in this country, you will have at least 200 to 300 super spreader events in the form of these counting centers, polling stations, offices of the political parties, not polling stations, offices of these political parties, celebrations. Are we in a position to afford to create these many super spreader events?
You know, the Madras High Court has asked the Election Commission to come up with a proper plan, a blueprint, if I'm not mistaken, by the 30th, to ensure that, there's a semblance of order and adherence to the COVID protocol. Having said that, I must say the Election Commission could have also thought out of the box. You talk of the system, I would say the system is the Election Commission, which is an independent body under the Constitution. Had TN Session been around today, I don't think this would have happened. Let me stick my neck out and say that.
The Calcutta High Court said exactly that. The Calcutta High Court said exactly that.
I had suggested, just 1 second, Sanket, I had suggested in a column well in advance, I had even spoken to the State Health Secretary. I had suggested that on polling day, you have all those who are eligible for the vaccine, at least now they are eligible, those above 18, those who come up with some proof of identity. You could have converted a section of the polling booths into vaccination centers. You could have come up with something like that. They don't respond to any good suggestions. And whatever they tried to put in place, on polling day, they had these circles and they had this semblance of social distancing and all that. Why didn't they do this during the actual super spreader events? People were packed like sardines at rally events. And nobody was following any protocol.
Absolutely. No, it's not like you're not having elections even now. Look at Uttar Pradesh for that matter. Let me quickly go to Mr. Kheda before I come to you, Mr. Raman. Mr. Kheda, you are also contesting these panchayat elections. So are other political parties. In Uttar Pradesh, which has seen a record surge. In fact, there are reports that people have died as a consequence of these elections. Are elections so important?
Sir, I think you are asking the right question to the wrong man. You could have asked me this question if I was responsible for the decision of holding elections or not. That's not me. But if there are elections, you can't expect me to झोला उठाकर, मैं तो फकीर हूं नहीं कि साहब झोला उठाकर चला जाऊंगा. वो फकीर तो मोदी जी हैं, हम तो है नहीं. हमें भी तो लड़ना होगा ना साहब. तो आप फकीर से पूछिए ना, कहाँ है झोला, क्या है उस झोले में?
Mr. Bose, very quickly, do you think, one more, Mr. Bose, do you think that a wise thing to have done right now would be, and you say this is the Election Commission's responsibility, but let's talk about collective political wisdom. All other political stakeholders say that yes, they should have been postponed. What is the BJP standpoint?
You see, I think it's very easy to put the entire blame on the Honorable Prime Minister or the Bharatiya Janata Party. It is
honorable system honorable system Prime Minister nahi.
No, hang on, let me finish. Let me finish, it's my time.
One moment, Mr. Kheda.
Honorable system.
No, one moment.
I have my doubts on the word honorable, but system.
If the political parties in opposition would have really felt for the people of our country and would have really felt that this election should not have been held, they could have really put forward their views in a very strong manner. But they participated. They all participated in the election.
No, they are saying what option do we have? That's the problem. Sumant Raman, very quickly, I want to come back to you. One moment. Otherwise, this discussion will not make any sense. Mr. Sumant Raman, I come back to the point from where we started. Have elections, become, they were supposed to be a means to an end. Have they become the end result? The only thing that matters to politicians. Election.
No, unfortunately, Sanket, over the last 6-7 years, the importance of the election as an end in itself has sort of become hugely exaggerated. And look, let's face it, at the end of the day, the big difference between the way countries with responsible governments handle the situation and those with irresponsible governments which have handled the situation, and you have the results all right in front of you. The way Trump handled it versus the way Biden is handling it, the way Bolsonaro is handling it in Brazil. And you just have to look at the mortality figures and figure out all the wrong things have been permitted. Election rallies have been permitted. The Kumbh Mela has been permitted. And mind you, it was advanced by 1 year, even though it was only due to be held next year.
And we are paying a huge price.
The level of
but the main point is, are we willing to learn even now? Is the system willing to learn even now? Mr. Bose, Mr. Kheda, Mr. Sumansi Raman, Sanjay Pinto, as well as Professor Mandal.
The system cannot do wrong.
System can't go wrong.
The system can't do wrong.
The system has to understand that the system has to function in this country.
Nor can it acknowledge a mistake. That's the problem.
The system needs to work in this country. We have to have a proper system in place. Thank you very much to all you gentlemen for joining us. We're stopping for a short break at this moment and also hoping that the system in this country works, and elections should be a means to an end, not the end itself. Good night and goodbye.